Hello, welcome again to another exciting time. Today we are going to be talking about the nominal interest rate. Now I'm going to tell you how it relates to the annual effective interest rate. Now these two are not the same, but we can be able to convert them. That is talking about the nominal to the annual, as well as the annual to back to the nominal. So that's what we are going to talk about today. And then also I'm going to show you how to use it on your BA 2 plus calculator. Now, it will interest you to know that most times we are very familiar that with investment being compounded annually. Now, sometimes investment will have to be compounded probably quarterly in a year. That is talking about the compounding is done more than once in a year. So if it is compounded monthly, that simply means that the investment will be compounded 12 times. And if it is quarterly, it's going to be compounded 4 times and so on. So now that's when the nominal interest rate comes in. So let's say, for example, we have an investment that is compounded 2% quarterly. So in this case now, if we're going to look at it in a year, now most times some students will feel like, okay, yes, so since it is compounded 12% in a year, so that simply means that the interest rate is going to be 2% times 4, which gives 8%. Now, this is referred to as the nominal annual rate. This is the nominal annual rate convertible quarterly. So that's exactly, so you always see this word convertible. Now, if it is monthly, it's going to be convertible monthly. If it is semi-annually, it's going to be convertible semi-annually. This is referred to as the, what do you call it now? The nominal annual rate convertible quarterly, but it is not the actual interest rate. Let me tell you why I say so. So let's say, for example, now we are having an investment of it could be $1 or £1, as the case might be. Now, and then we said 2% quarterly. So looking at it, what will be the total accumulation at the end of that year? Now we have what we call the accumulation function. You can feel free to check my previous videos, the accumulation function, which we denote as A of t equal to 1 plus I all raised to power t. So this is for compound interest, 1 plus I all raised to power t. Now the I we have here is the annual effective interest rate. But then let us assume we are taking this as the annual effective interest rate. Now, we want to see the error there, but then you have to know that we refer to this as the nominal annual rate convertible quarterly. So in this case, I'm going to multiply this value with this function, 1 plus, that is, we have 8%, and then raised to power, we have 1 plus 8%, and this gives us, I have 1.08. Now, when I multiply that with this value, this is exactly what I have as 1.08 after a year. Well, now let's look at it. Let's now, in the recent, let us look at the 2%. In the recent, let us look at the 2%. Now, let's say we have the $1, and then we have 1 plus 2% raised to power 4. So when I have this, this is same as 1.02 raised to power 4. Using my calculator for that, 1.02 raised to power 4, I'm going to have 1.0824. Now you see that these two values are actually different. Here, I actually use 2%, and then in a year, how many times? 4 times. That's when I talked about the accumulation function, that's 1 plus I all raised to power t. The t here is the number of times it is compounded, which is 4. And then the I here is the interest that was given to us. The interest, in this case, it was given to us quarterly. But looking at it in relation to a year, how many quarters do we have in a year? We have 4. So that simply means the I, which is 2%, the t will be equal to 4. And when I plugged it in here, and that's exactly what I have 1.0824. In essence, this is the actual interest. This tells us the actual interest, but this doesn't. So don't make mistake to use this. This is the nominal annual rate. Why this is the correct calculation, telling us the accumulation. Why do I say so? Because in the first quarter, $1, we are going to look at what interest does $1 generate. And that's with 2% now. Once we're able to get that, it becomes a new principal for the next quarter. And then we are going to calculate it at the end of the second quarter. That will also become the principal for the third quarter. And that we do continuously. But this calculation will not give us the actual value. So this is not correct. So most times you have to ensure that anytime you are giving interest rate as nominal, annual interest rate, you have to convert it to the actual effective interest rate. And in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to tell you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to do that rather. So let's say I is denoted as the actual effective interest rate, and then I raised to power m in brackets, talking about m periods. M periods. So you can see that I raised to power m periods. So previously, when we talked about quarterly, so m will be equal to 4. So now, how can we be able to convert the annual effective interest rate to the nominal, or the nominal to the annual effective interest rate? So we have a simple formula for that. 1 plus I equal to 1 plus I, which is the nominal, the annual nominal interest rate, divided by m, all raised to power m. So we have this nominal interest rate divided by the number of periods, right? Divided by the number of periods and raised to power m. What we have in here is the nominal interest rate. So we see that this I raised to power m divided by m raised to power m. So to make it quite simple, so that simply means that I can say I is equal to 1 plus I raised to power m over m, or raised to power m minus 1. Now in this case, this is maybe when I'm given the nominal annual interest rate, and then I'm told to convert it to the annual effective interest rate. So this is exactly what I'm going to do. So it's quite safe to just know this. Once you know this, and that will be all. How about if I'm going to convert the annual effective interest rate back to the that is the nominal interest rate? So how am I going to be able to do that? Again, you are going to make I raised to power m the subject of the formula. So that will be I raised to power m, and that will give us 1 plus I raised to power 1 over m. Yes, I raised to power minus 1, and then we are going to have an m here, so in bracket. So this is exactly what we are going to have. So this will be I raised to power m equal to m, and then we have all the chunky stuff in here. So, but for an exam setting, it will be safer to just, most times you are going to have questions being given to you as the nominal annual interest rate, and then told to convert it. So, well, you won't be told anyway, but you just have to know that you cannot use the nominal. Rather, you have to convert it to the annual effective interest rate. So now let's see how we can be able to use this. So let's look at a simple example here. And that simple example, before we are going to look at it directly from the BA2 Plus calculator. So now, let's say, for example, now you are given, we have I to be 6%. Let's say you are given I raised to the power m to be 6% and told to find. And this is converted, yes, I raised to the power m, maybe let's say converted quarterly, and then told to find I when m is equal to 4, maybe quarter. So if we say quarterly, so that means m will be equal to 4. So if we're given this, and then we are told to find I in terms of quarters now. So how we're going to do that? I will be equal to, as I said earlier on, and that will be 1 plus, we have I with the m here over m minus 1. So this will be 1 plus, we have I here, which is what? 6% over 4, all raised to the power 4, minus 1. So when we have that, looking at our calculator, 6% divided by 4 plus 1 raised to the power 4. Then we have, so let me take that again, 6% divided by 4 plus 1, then raised to the power of 4 and minus 1. So that gives us 0.06136. So in essence, 2, so this is 6.136%. So the actual effective interest rate is 6.136%. And that will also work maybe when we want to convert, that is talking about the annual effective interest rate back to the nominal. Now, how do we use the BA2 plus calculator? So you might have the BA2 plus or the BA2 plus professional calculator. They all have the same function. So first, you are going to press the second function, and then above 2, you are going to say we have something like this, ICONV. Now that means interest conversion. So the second function and then the interest conversion. The moment you have the interest conversion, the first thing that will pop up, you are going to see NOM. This will pop up. When you use the arrow that we have there, maybe when you press the arrow down, we are going to have EFF equal to, you press the arrow down again, we are going to have C/Y. Now this is exactly what you are going to have. So we are going to impute the values there. So looking at this question, so let's say we have the nominal to be 6%. So now the nominal 6%, you are not going to punch 6%. Rather, you are going to punch 6 and then you are going to press enter. The moment you press enter, it accepts the value. So how do I get that done? I'm going to press 6 and then enter. Now, once I press 6 and enter, this becomes 6. Then I'm going to scroll down since I want to convert to the effective, that is the annual effective interest rate. So I'm going to scroll down to this using the arrow. And now the number of periods we have, M is equal to 4. So I'm going to press 4 and then enter again. So I'm going to have here to be 4. Now, once I have done that, I'm going to go up to this effective, and then I'm going to press the compute key. You are going to see a key, CPT, compute key. Once I press compute key, then it will give me something like the 6.1365. So you can see not quite different, but don't forget this is actually in percent. The answer, it won't come out as with the percentage rather, but you have to know that you won't just accept this value alone. When you're writing the value, my I is going to be 6.1365%. That's exactly what I'm going to have. So that's how to convert. So don't forget, anytime you're given a question, you must always check to see, is the interest rate given as nominal? If it's given as nominal, then you check the convertible period. So is it convertible quarterly? Now, if it is quarterly, it means M is equal to 4. If it is annual, if it is monthly, then it means M is equal to 2, or semi-annually, which M will be equal to 2, as the case might be. So I believe that you understand what I'm doing today. So thank you very much. So check out again for my next video where I'm going to be solving an SOA question using the nominal interest rate.